I graduated from Westbridge High 10 years ago. I've never been back inside the building. People assume that's because of nostalgia, or because I moved away. But the truth is much simpler than that. I know what the school becomes after hours. I know what continues working there when everyone else goes home. At the time, we thought we were just pulling a prank. The idea came from Mark. He'd noticed that the east wing door, near the old auto shop, was sometimes left unlocked after football games. He noticed it because he stayed late one night and saw the janitor leave without checking it. The janitor's name was Mr. Harlan. That's what the staff directory said. He was an older man, very thin, always wearing the same gray uniform. During the day, he moved quietly through the halls with a cart, never interrupting classes, never acknowledging students. None of us had ever heard him speak. There were 4 of us that night: Mark, Jason, Ethan, and me. We were all seniors, careful enough to think we were being smart. We planned to rearrange a few rooms, leave some fake paperwork in the main office printer, and be gone before midnight. No damage, no theft, nothing permanent. We parked 2 blocks away and crossed the athletic fields on foot. The school sat dark on the hill, its windows reflecting nothing. The flagpole out front creaked slowly, even though there wasn't that much wind. The east wing door was unlocked. When we stepped inside, the air felt wrong immediately. Not dirty, but not freshly cleaned either. Just old and heavy. Like the building had been sealed for a long time and had recently opened again. The emergency lights along the floor were on, casting a dull amber glow. Our footsteps sounded muted, like the halls were padded. That's when we heard the cart. Metal wheels. Slow. Rhythmic. Coming from somewhere deep inside the building. We froze, and the sound stopped, then resumed. Jason whispered that it was just the janitor, that we'd avoid him and stick to the science wing. As we moved, we noticed the clocks. Every clock read 11:17. Analog, digital, even the broken one near the trophy case that usually stopped at random times. No one commented on it at first. We just kept walking. The science wing doors opened without resistance. The hallway beyond was longer than it should have been. Lockers continued past where the fire exit was supposed to be. The ceiling lights flickered in a pattern that felt deliberate. A classroom door stood open. Inside, the lights were on. The room looked preserved rather than used. Desks were aligned perfectly. The whiteboard was covered in writing. Attendance instructions, homework reminders, a lesson outline. At the top, written neatly, tonight's objective. And below it was a list. Order, compliance, retention. Ethan pointed to the board, but before he could speak, the intercom clicked on. Static filled the hallway, then a familiar voice. The assistant principal. The voice said calmly.
Night cycle has begun. All personnel report to assigned zones.
The message repeated, again and again, on every speaker. We backed away from the classroom and continued down the hall. The air grew colder. The walls looked slightly damp, like condensation was forming. That's when we saw him. Mr. Harlan stood under a flickering light. one hand resting on his cart. He wasn't cleaning. He wasn't moving. He was waiting. His uniform hung strangely on him, stretched tight in some places and loose in others. His head turned towards us first, then his shoulders followed, stiffly. His face looked assembled rather than natural, pale, smooth. His eyes were dark and unfocused, like glass. "You're out of sequence," he said. His voice didn't echo naturally. It sounded like it was coming from the hallway itself. Mark tried to explain. Something about a mistake, about leaving. Mr. Harlan nodded slowly. "Students are processed after hours," he said. "That's always been the policy." He pushed the cart forward, but the wheels made no sound. We ran. As we moved, the intercom clicked on again.
"Unauthorized movement detected.
The vice principal's voice announced.
Please return to your designated classrooms."
Doors opened as we passed them. Inside the classroom stood teachers, not moving, not breathing, standing behind desks, hands folded, eyes following us. Some of them were teachers we recognized. Some were older, dressed in outdated clothing. One of them spoke as we passed. "You'll fall behind," she said quietly. In the cafeteria, the lunch staff stood behind the counters, hairnets in place, hands resting on trays. Their eyes turned toward us at the same time. The intercom cut in again.
"Retention protocols active."
We reached the auditorium. The doors were open. Inside, the lights were on. The seats were filled. Rows and rows of figures sat facing the stage. Some wore student IDs, some wore staff badges, but none of them moved. On stage stood the principal at the podium. He looked up as we entered. "You're scheduled for review," he said. Behind him hung a banner. "Welcome back." We didn't respond, and we backed away slowly. The janitor's cart rolled into view behind us. "Running disrupts workflow," Mr. Harlan said. We turned and sprinted. The hallways no longer made sense. Turns led back to places we'd already been. The clock still read 11:17. Eventually, we found the stairwell to the basement, and the temperature dropped immediately. At the bottom was a concrete hallway lined with filing cabinets. Each drawer was labeled by year. The years extended far beyond the present. We opened one. Inside were student records, names, graduation years, final status. Some read transferred, some read withdrawn, some read incomplete, and some read retained. Mark found his name. Jason found his, and so did I. The intercom activated again, this time from a speaker in the basement ceiling.
"Records must remain intact."
Footsteps echoed behind us, heavy and measured. It sounded like multiple of them. We ran up the stairs. The door at the top opened in the senior hallway. It was our hallway. But the lockers were empty, cleaned out. There were no names, not even a dent. The intercom spoke one final time.
"Day cycle resuming."
The doors at the end of the hall opened. Sunlight. We stumbled outside. It was morning. Students arrived and teachers walked in, talking casually. The building looked normal. The east wing door was locked. No one believed us. Over the years, I learned what happened to the others. Jason transferred schools without explanation. Ethan dropped out during college, and Mark never graduated. His records listed him as retained. As for Mr. Harlan, he retired the following year. The position was filled immediately. Same uniform, same cart, same hours. Sometimes, late at night, I check the time. If it's 11:17, I don't go back to sleep. Because I know the announcements have started, and the staff is still working.